Hey guys, welcome to Bowhunting Soul. Okay, it's really windy here, really breezy. I don't say breezy, it's windy, it's gusting, right? I think winds are like 15-20 miles an hour, gusting to 35-40 miles an hour. I hope the audio comes out good in this. This is actually, right now when I'm talking, it's kind of like a calm, you know, but you'll see the wind kick up here. You'll see the wind kick up and get pretty nasty. So just want to show you the flight. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. I'm going to be shooting from about, I don't know, 13-15 yards over there, and I want to show you the flight in gusty, windy conditions. Okay, and just how much you can affect arrow flight. I'm just shooting wood arrows here. These are 5. God, I always forget. I weigh these and then I forget. They're like 550, I think. They're about 560, 550. Only out of like a 40-pound bow at this point with this my Grizzly. Okay, 4-inch fletching. Okay, you can hear the breeze kick up, and it usually screws up the audio. I apologize, but I'm doing this. Here's a breeze, here's a gust coming by. I'm doing this on purpose. Okay, here we go. That one was really sideways. I don't know if you can hear me from here. All right, so I don't know how well that actually picked up how sideways those arrows were kicking, okay? But that's 15 yards. Okay, so they're all, this one kind of flew, that one's not so good, but I mean, you know, they're in a fist, right? 15 yards, they're in a fist. About as well as I can do. The first one wasn't too bad. The last several were literally like sideways flight. So they impacted where they're supposed to impact, but I mean, the wind's coming from this way. And I mean, the arrow was literally, the flying arrow was like this, and it was flying like this, right? Because the arrow's just catching this. Now, that's the conundrum, right? You're gonna have, of course, you want best tuned arrows no matter what. I'm not a big fan of the let the feathers handle it mentality. Okay, I want as best flying an arrow as possible, and then the feathers have to do a minimal amount of work. Of course, the more feather, the more forgiving it is when it's not so windy. But I mean, I've got brush here, right? This is obviously, this is like mid to late March, and there's no real foliage, but I mean, I've got enough like trees and whatnot to even kind of break up the wind a little bit, right, to some degree. But this may be representative of like late season, right, mid to late season, depending where you are in the country. And just understand that 15 yards, something like this, you know, unless you shoot your arrows in these conditions, you're never gonna know. You're never gonna know how sideways are going to fly. They might eventually straighten out, sure, but you know, it might take a while. And actually, if it's windy like this, it's going to keep kicking the back end of that around. You're going to impact where you're going to impact, which is fine if you're target shooting, right? If you're doing 3D or whatever. But if, you know, if you've got a broadhead on the, well, even if you don't, especially with the broadhead on the end, meaning if you're hunting, the wind can take the broadhead, sure, but it's definitely going to take the kick the back of those feathers around. So that's something more important, I guess. So what you don't want is, you know, you don't want your, you know, you want the impact to be dead straight, right? If you're shooting something, you don't want to go this way into the animal, minimize penetration, potentially snapping arrow, especially if you got wood arrow, snapping your arrow, but also it's going to rob penetration if you go sideways. We all know this, you know, I mean, this is nothing new here that I'm spouting off, but just unless you actually get out here and shoot it out of your setups with your, you know, actual bow and arrow and feathers and all that stuff in these conditions, you're never going to know. Some people are gonna say, well, you know what, if it's like that, I'm not gonna hunt in these conditions. Well, maybe, it depends where you go. I mean, if it's a shot like this where you got enough of a breeze that could catch it, sure. If you're tucked into some ravine somewhere and you're on the ground and you're, you know, set up like, you know, 5-10 yards and there's good a wind block or something like that, because I can walk around here and I can get in some low areas, and especially in the areas that I hunt. We're at the range right now, but some of the areas that I hunt, it's not like this. It's like this on the plateaus, but then when you get down into the river bottoms, when you get down to those gullies and ditches and whatnot, swamps where you got swamp grass and everything that's, you know, just maybe like this high off the ground, it's windy, but when you're like a foot off the ground or 2 feet off the ground, there's enough of a windbreak there. So you got to kind of take all that into consideration, I suppose. So anyway, I'm gonna take maybe a couple more shots here. Okay, I'll reset up this camera. Maybe you can see this flying. I'll put it a little bit closer, and I'll maybe show you a closer shot of these flying sideways. I don't know if it really came through on the video when I did it, so hang on a sec. All right, what I'm gonna do actually is I'm gonna put you guys in slow-mo mode, because I just watched the footage here. I did watch the footage I just shot. I'm gonna put you in slow-mo mode, and I'll try and edit this in here in slow-mo, and then you can actually better see how sideways this is. Hold on a sec. All right, so I hope you could see that one. I watched the slow-mos. I got a few good ones in there. It's actually really kind of chilly today. I'm kind of getting cold. We're having like a little kind of storm front move through. We were supposed to get a pile of snow, but we didn't. But it's still really cold and stuff. So I'm out here. Perfect day to do this video. But I hope you guys got that. I had to wait for some gusts. That's why I'm editing this a little bit. I had to wait for the gusty parts on purpose to show you how bad it could be with the steady wind and gusting kind of thing. So I hope you can see enough of that I was able to prove the point where these things are going to go sideways. Anyway, that's just you know, this is not something that's new. Obviously, you guys know this, but how often do you actually really go out and practice in this, and then, you know, and make that decision for yourself during hunting season and say, and again, I'm not making judgments one way or another, but you know, if you know in the area you're going to hunt and the shots that you're going to take and the cover that you're going to have, is it going to be ethical for you to do it or not, right? And that's just a decision that you and you alone can make, I suppose. So and you know, that shouldn't stop you from going out. If you go out and you're like, okay, well, I can't set up in this spot, but maybe find another spot that's a little more enclosed, a little more cover, a little more of a windbreak, and it may not be an issue. I mean, there are places where, like I said, there's the wind is howling, and I can tuck down right into a river bottom somewhere, and it's nothing, right? It's nice and calm and everything like that, but you gain like 50 feet in elevation, and it's, you know, so really bad. Anyway, that's it. Hope that video wasn't too long. So I'm gonna stay warm. I'm gonna walk around. I'm gonna shoot this. Maybe I'm gonna do another video on this. Actually, I am gonna do another video on this one. I've done them before, but I want to do another one, so why not? All right, thanks guys.